was Mr. Hanson volunteered, I don't know, said he would help me as I would meet with the department heads. As I thought about that, I thought it might be actually quite important that a member of the council or two is with me, because many of the department heads are elected officials, which I'm not over. And I just thought that might be appropriate. So I was just suggesting that perhaps one of you could help me, and then we'll get with Dwight and schedule times with the different department heads and go over the information. That was...
Your thoughts are you do that on the schedule during the day, just have them come in on the scheduled time?
Well, we'd schedule whenever we need to schedule. I mean, if it was something that we needed to schedule late afternoon or something, I guess we could do that. Or maybe we could do it all in one day and get them all done in a certain period of time. That's possible too. But I guess I just want to know what the council's thoughts were with that. That would be okay.
Council, what's your thoughts? Any of you have interest in attending some of those?
I would like. I mean, I'm attending. Nobody else got time to do it. I think it'd be good input, to get some input from the department head.
It may even go beyond that. Depending on what the department head wants, we may want to help them hold a meeting with their staff as well to go over the information, because I think we're looking for a way to improve our trust in a succinct statement. And so that may be different by department, but it may be something that each department head may want some help with. So that may be out there. I don't know yet. Without talking to them, I won't know yet what they would like to do there.
That's a great suggestion, and I'd be happy to sit there as well. Since I've kind of been there from the beginning, I'd be a part of it. So I think it would work out well to take some time and review that with the heads of the departments. Once the session's over, I can help you too.
Well, I was thinking the different departments. For example, I guess the chairman of Public Works, I think I could attend that one. Solid waste in that I am, so I guess that includes all of the Public Works. I don't know if
That'd be a good idea. Involve all the council and if they
do the departments.
Those are good Public Works.
Public Works is a
That's
department
in
the county. Oh, I know of it.
So is the,
I guess solid waste is an SSD under. Anyway, that
Solid waste didn't take the
they didn't do it at all.
Many of the comments have council references, so I think it's important that we be involved with my.
Yeah, I do too.
right.
So if we divide it up, maybe, I don't know.
I'd be okay with sitting in on anything that, if you didn't have anybody or you needed someone,
How it
depending on the
works,
schedule.
and this is you, I mean, but if you put together a schedule and put that out to us, let us look at it and grab some.
Now that I know there's several of you that'd be willing to do that.
Maybe we ought to do it the next work meeting, just schedule the whole work meeting.
We can have time to do all of
You
them.
could do one or two, see how much time it took. Yeah, start picking them off that way, that works, because then we'd all be.
But would you want to gang up on the whole council?
Yeah, will they feel, maybe.
Pam?
Wouldn't you, Pam?
Me?
I kind of
Yeah,
took from that though, they'd like the forum to talk to us, and I don't know if.
Yeah, I think
You don't
if they want to come
accomplish
talk
much
to
unless
us
you talk to all
about
of us.
it. as a group,
But I think most
that'd be
people
great.
would.
Would there be a forum for that they could all come and be particular concerns? That they could come address the entire council?
I think we can do it.
Well, there may be. I think maybe I'm trying to think about it, but the first step may be that to introduce them to this. They haven't seen all of this. They haven't been able to discuss it with Dwight. Dwight has a lot of insight as to what the numbers mean. It's not just a number, it actually means something and it correlates with something. So in that respect, I'm not sure this would be the best forum to do it with.
Maybe after
large
those
group.
meetings, it might.
But after those meetings, that might be a great way to then coordinate how we would address some of the concerns of each department and bring them in one at a time and then discuss after we've had this other with the council and make a determination, how can we best help this department in this area. So maybe that's a little better way to approach that.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a two-step thing.
So does that work for you if you visit with Dwight and he's kind of got a schedule and threw it at us to see?
That's fine.
Or we can
That,
do-
I think
Does
that
that
works
work for
great.
everybody?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Mike, are we gonna release this to the public?
We can release the
SOP.
the slide presentation has all the numbers. Essentially what we saw, the notes have personal references and the personal evaluation, which typically aren't released to like reviews of employees.
Just the general numbers is what we want to let go, I think.
General
Just
numbers would be
percentages.
certainly.
It's still eliminating, I mean, it's got some stuff in there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, but that's, unless the attorney's office tells me different, that's how we would handle that.
So the slides are the piece at the back, right?
They are, they're actually it's two stacks stapled together. They're turned sideways, those are the slides for each department. So those we can, and maybe what we could do is we could put them on the website or something, and that way anybody could access them that would like to rather than.
That's a good idea.
And then when we do it by the end of the year, we show that we've increased in trust. It's just a good benchmark to have to start somewhere. And 65, I think, is what our score was. I said that wasn't really too bad.
Yeah.
We have some room to work and we grow and increase trust. It's
Very good areas and some areas that need a little more work.
It shows where we need to work at, and it shows some of our strengths, so that may not be a bad idea.
Is that okay if I have Don put that
On the website.
portion in on the website
Yes.
and then I'll proceed to get that scheduled and then I'll get that back to you to coordinate your ability to help me with those interviews and discussions. And that's all I had on that portion of it. I did have a couple other issues that I wanted to ask you on. I met with the other managers, the regional managers, Heber City, Park City, and Summit County a week or so ago. It was thought that we ought to try this late spring, early summer to have another dinner with all the councils. And some dates have been thrown out there, and the two dates that they came up with they think might work would be Monday, May 2nd or Monday, May 16th. This would be an evening meeting.
And you're talking Heber City,
Park City,
Park City,
Summit County.
Summit County, and Wasatch County. And it's including the councils
This would be the councils and
and the mayors,
or mayors.
and the council and the managers of each of those jurisdictions.
What was the date? May.
May 2nd and May 16th were the two dates that seemed to be fitting a lot of people. There were some Tuesday dates thrown out that there are meetings on Tuesday nights that they could meet on.
May 2nd or May 16th.
You know, the first week of the month is extremely busy. I would recommend going to the 16th, in my opinion. Kind of lightens up a little bit as the month goes on. May's going to be a really busy month with graduation, a lot of other things. I'd always be the 16th if we had a short.
I'm okay with
That would be mine also.
Now,
The first Monday of the month is very bad.
I think it looks like consensus is 16th would be the best for us to.
Okay.
Who's hosting that? Are we hosting this one?
I think Park City, or excuse me, I think Heber City is going to host it. It would most likely be over the new police station in the new building.
Speaking of the new building, how many do you would like to have we schedule a tour for the council for that building?
I'd be interested in seeing it.
They'll have the dedication. If you've driven by, they started to take down the old school now. They'll pull in what was the library is gone, I noticed.
It'll be gone in a day or so.
Yeah, it won't take long.
I think our emergency people have been doing some of the stuff.
They're doing a lot of
training
stuff
and
going on.
different things as they.
But Chief will schedule a tour if we want to.
Takes you about an hour to go through it or so.
Through their new building. I'd like to go see it.
It's pretty neat.
See it now before I get invited to do another one.
Should we
Whenever. I just want to see their new building.
see what, I mean, if we did next council meeting, would we dare schedule like at 6 or something right over? at the end of our meeting?
Probably not.
If you pick a time, you can bet that we won't be done.
Oh, that's right, we will have some public hearings. The first council meeting of March, we'll want to be done by 6 because of issues conference.
So maybe the next
Next
work
work
session,
meeting.
after the work session.
Well, we either that or we can do that first and then come here. Okay, I'll talk to Chief.
You've been through it.
I have,
They put a jail in there, they can still use us.
no, we're the jail.
That's what, I wonder if that's, I heard that, but I hadn't.
They do have some, what we call holding cells.
Just, yeah, for
For
booking
arrest, for
people and stuff.
booking and transport, but they're not jail cells.
overnight.
They don't have facilities to cook and all the things, and beds and all that stuff like that. The next item I wanted to bring up, we had a discussion, a meeting and a discussion today about some of the things that need to be done over with the consideration of the general plan over in Wallsburg. And in discussing this, it was apparent that we probably need to instigate a water study and a traffic study, and it was my feeling it might be best to have the county instigate that because that would be the least biased position. That would cost us some money to do that, but where we are the ones that are proposing an amendment of the general plan, I feel it's very appropriate that we would do that and spend some money to do that. Is that something that the council thinks we would be okay to pursue? What we would do is we would do an RFP for each of them and go out and get people to bid, and then we would pick the most responsive bidder. And
It doesn't cost anything to do an RFP.
It
other
does
than our
not.
time.
And if I was guessing, I would say we'd be in the $25,000 to $30,000 range on a water study, and we'd probably be maybe half that on a traffic study.
How would, and then that information would just tie into Kip's
Then the committee would then take that information along with all the other information. The problem you've got is the water is going to be, you can't conquer that issue. You can't conquer any of the issues. So it's almost a key component to look at. And I felt strongly, and I think Councilman Farrell felt the same way. We need the best unbiased look at that as possible so that all sides considered can say that we tried our best to get the best look at it, and it isn't their person doing the study or their person doing the study. It was the county, it's the county's general plan, and we want them to buy into it, obviously. But if we can do that and pay for it, I think that would be the best thing.
How do you set the study up? Are we doing anything as if the development's going to happen or any general look?
No, I think what we do, the study would address the resources of the valley.
And that's what I want to make sure this is a general plan amendment, it's not a
It's
development.
not a development proposal, it's a general plan amendment. So we want to look at the resources of the aquifers, the potential water sources, the potential downside, maybe the potential damage to existing aquifers, existing wells if there's further development of wells. So that would all be encompassed in that, so that we could have, the council could have a good look and say, and it's not just for this particular development proposal, there may be other proposals along the line that you'll want to look at and do the same thing. And I don't know how you feel, I just thought that would be appropriate.
Well, I suspect that committee eventually would have come and asked for that, so let's get a head start on it.
Well, we don't want the committee to do it.
Well,
It's a
okay.
county decision.
Yeah, that's what I mean, they would
The
come and say,
committee
we
would
need to
use
study.
this information after the county gets it to help formulate the plan,
Correct.
but they need to have good information, as unbiased as possible.
We allocated $17,000 for them to spend on things like this, so that, or they'd still be allowed.
That certainly can be part of it, but I think there's going to be other studies, TDR studies, and so forth, that committee may want to do.
Yeah, has the committee had a chance to meet yet?
No, I think that was part of what was discussed, is they would like to schedule a meeting, but I think this decision, if we want to proceed with an RFP, would be part of what they would want to tell the committee and say, look, we're going to do this to provide the information. And then once that information is obtained, then the committee can use it to analyze, so
Who
put
did the
them off.
town council choose for their representative?
Did they?
Was
No,
it
it
Boyce?
wasn't, I said wasn't.
They hadn't done, they
The mayor
didn't
was-
choose one.
The mayor was out of town. She was in Mexico or someplace on
They
vacation.
wanted to wait till
So
she
they
got
wanted to wait
back.
for her to come back before they made that recommendation.
This would be money that would have to come out of reserves, we don't have it
That was
budgeted.
my question, so if we
We
don't have
do
the
have,
budget.
we do have some reserves. I just felt where the county's the one initiating the general plan review, it might be appropriate for us to do that. It's an important issue,
Pretty
particularly to
important.
the people over there.
And we've never had a complete water study for the Walsburg area, and I think this would be a good tool from here on out. Every time we have an issue with that, we can refer back to this study.
If we're gonna do it, can we just do a water study for the entire county?
That would be many, 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 many times $25,000
What do you think?
in the millions.
The time would be years too. I mean, these are all for people.
Even when the state adjudicates, it takes them several years to adjudicate an area, just one area.
This water study in Walsburg wouldn't be that difficult. You only got one source,
One major source.
one major source, the round valley drainage.
The rest of the county is quite complicated, but as we go through the general plan process, it may be appropriate in other areas of the county to do the same thing. So when we get to another area, if we get to Strawberry, if we get to some other area, say, okay, let's do the same thing in these areas. I think this would be a precedent for that, to do that, and we may have to take them bites though.
And if we can build a reserve, maybe we can even budget money for, if it's that much more, maybe we can budget some money.
If this works out well, there's a process for the general plan review, then we may want to do exactly that, so that every 2 years we'll have the money in place to do the review.
Because I don't know how we can take a hit like that.
You can't do it every time.
That's not budgeted, you know.
But if you did it by individual
But I like the idea.
drainages, if you did it by individual drainages and break it up, it'll be reasonable
Over a
over
few
time.
years and budget the money for it.
Yep.
So generally, you think you're okay with that? We'll do an RFP. Well, it has to come back to you because of the amount, dollar amount and so forth. It would have to come back to the council for approval, so you'll have an opportunity to look at that, review it, and see if you want to proceed.
They said all the RFP costs is time.
Yeah, and Doug and myself will work on that. The only other issues I have are for closed session, so thank you.
Okay. That brings us back, let's do council board reports, and then that pretty well